So good, so good, so good.
Everything you want for summer is at Nordstrom Rack stores now, and up to 60% off. Stock up and save on the brands you love like Vince, Sam Edelman, Frame, and Free People. Join the Nordy Club to unlock exclusive discounts, shop new arrivals first, and more. Plus, buy online and pick up at your favorite Rack store for free. Great brands, great prices. That's why you Rack.
Ready to soundtrack your summer? With Red Bull Summer All Day Play, you choose a playlist that fits your summer vibe the best. Are you a festival fanatic, a deep end DJ, a road dog, or a trail mixer? Just add a song to your chosen playlist and put your summer on track. Red Bull Summer All Day Play. Red Bull gives you wings. Visit redbull.com/brightsummer ahead to learn more. See you this summer.
First positions, everyone! Yo, go!
And action! Hello and welcome to episode 361 of the Filmmakers Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk filmmaking, from indie film to studio films to TV to documentary to commercials and everything in between. How to get them made, how to make them, and how to try not to royally F them up in our very, very humble opinion. I'm Giles Alderson. I'm a writer, director, and a producer. And on this week's show, we have the director and screenwriter and producer and lyricist, John Carney, who's best known for his films Once, Begin Again, and Sing Street. And he's here to talk about his latest film, Flora and Son. John Carney has been on my radar for a long time. I think he's a fantastic director. I think his voice is unique, and I think he's got a lot to say. Flora and Son follows Flora, who's a single mum who is at war with her son, Max. Trying to find a hobby for Max, she rescues a guitar from a dumpster, from the trash, from the bin, and finds that one person's trash can be a family's salvation. This film is so cool. It's an Apple TV Plus movie, and it's on Apple TV now. I suggest you seek it out. Indie filmmakers out there, you're going to love this. John Carney is just famous, super famous for making indie films shine, especially with music. This film stars Eve Hewson as Flora, Marcella Plunkett, Paul Reed, Amy Huberman, Jack Rayner, Sophie Vavasseur, Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Jeff, and Oren Kinlan as Max. It is produced by Anthony Bregman, Peter Cron, Rebecca O'Flanahan, and Robert Walpole. And its cinematographer was John Conroy. Production design by Ashley Jeffers. Cast by Amy Rowan and edited by Stephen O'Connell. Myself and Dom Lemoire, my fellow host for the day, sat down and chatted with John Carney all about how he moved from short films and music videos to make his first feature film, November Afternoon, which he co-directed with Tom Hill. We also talk about why it's hard to find a niche as a director, writing characters, good and bad. How do you do it? Why music helped him in film, and his story, overrated. We also obviously dive into Flora and Son and where the idea came from. John himself was in the band The Frames, and that's where he found his lead, Glenn Hansard, for his breakout movie Once. It was made for £160,000, and it grossed over $7 million on its first 3 months of release. Steven Spielberg is even quoted as saying it gave him enough inspiration to last the rest of the year. He then went on to direct Sing Street, which again starred Jack Rayner, Marcella Plunkett, and guest of this very podcast, Lucy Boynton. From there, John moved to Hollywood a little bit to make the Keira Knightley and Mark Ruffalo starring film Begin Again, and then developed and produced and wrote and directed the TV series Modern Love. And now he's released Flora and Son. How are you doing? How are you getting on? It's an interesting time, isn't it, at the moment, with the writers' strike sort of finished, SAG still ongoing. We don't know where we're at. It's odd. There's this feeling of don't know what's happening next. We're all going through that right now. But that doesn't mean you can't keep trying. That doesn't mean you should give up or blame anyone else or anything else. This is your career, and you have to grab it with both hands because no one else is going to do it for you. I reiterate that on so many podcasts, but it's true. The cavalry aren't coming. They're not going to come over the hill with beacons going, we must take your script, we must make your project, we must have that director. It's just not going to happen unless you bang down those doors. So bang down the doors. Make things happen right now. If you're trying to get an agent, right, make it happen. Why do you want to be with that agent? What works for you with them? If you want to get a certain producer on board, what about their film? What is it about their films that makes you want to work with them? And that's really important. I think a lot of filmmakers forget that. They just go, well, that producer made this film, so surely they want to come and work with me. No, it's a collaboration. It takes years to make a film, and you're with these people 4 years. So therefore, not just 4 years, it could be 4 years. In the case of The Dare, it was 5. So you've got to like these people, and you've got to want to work with them, and they've got to want to work with you. And that's a collaboration, and it takes time to establish those relationships. But that doesn't mean right now you can't try. That doesn't mean right now you should not be working on your projects and seeing how you can get them made. Whether that's a short film, whether it's a TV series, whatever it is, documentary, feature film, it's out there for you to take it and make it happen. I know it sounds easy me saying that, but that's how I've done it. Found the money, found people to work with, and keep doing it. And keep doing it even now, finding new people or that collaboration could work with them. And I'm excited about a couple of projects that I'll tell you about very soon as I can. I was at the BFI London Film Festival this week. I saw some fantastic films. The Bike Riders, Jeff Nichols, the director, and Sarah Green, the incredible producer, joins us for a podcast episode, as well as The Killer, David Fincher's new film. We have his team joining us as well, joining you on the podcast because you'll be listening to it. And I also got to sit and listen to Scorsese, Mr. Martin Scorsese, or Sir, really, if he was English, talk with Edgar Wright for an hour and a half about filmmaking. And even though I feel like I've heard so many of these stories before, it felt fresh, it felt exciting, it felt inspiring. And he just turned and held the room with this wonderful gait that he had. If any of you listening out there were there as well, it was an incredible moment. And he just turned and said, you know, you're the creators now. You can go out and make stuff. And it's so true. You can do it. Anyway, for now, let's get to it. This is John Carney, an absolute legend in my eyes. Wonderful man, great director, very humble. Learned from his mistakes, and he set his stall out. And if you like Once, if you love Sing Street, you will love Flora and Son. Fantastic performances. So there we go. Right, this is John Carney, myself, Giles Olsen, and Dom Lemoy. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. How you doing, John? You all right?
Good. Very well, thanks. How are you?
Very well. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Yeah, we absolutely loved the film. I mean, usually the sort of the PR companies ask for a feedback of the film, and you give them something short to say about it. And my feedback was that I was actually disappointed the end credits arrived because I was enjoying it so much. It was such a wild, fun, hilarious, ride. I mean, it was incredible.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know how you kind of describe it really. It's like a kitchen sink. I don't know what it is. A kitchen sink musical comedy drama. I have no idea. I don't. You just kind of jump in and try and make something original. But it's interesting to hear you describe it in that way.
Yeah. I felt the same. I was dying to know what happened next. It was that kind of like, but don't go now. I love these characters. Why are we going now? Yeah. Which is great, I suppose.
I think that's it. I suppose it's how well written. I mean, the lead, Eve is absolutely incredible, but so's the boy, and the dad's perfectly cast. I think it's the strength of the characters that makes it so, and the actors that makes it so incredibly compelling. I mean, just to sort of start there, maybe, like, were they always in mind for the casting, or did they sort of develop with the script?
You mean the actors or the characters?
Yes, the actors. Yeah.
No, the actors weren't. I tend to sort of not think too much about who might play roles because it's sort of, it frees you up if you don't think that way. If you're just kind of, and then you might always change dialogue a little bit when you get a particular actor. So no, they all came on board, late into the process, just before filming really and putting the whole thing together. Eve, I met on Zoom. And we had a really good laugh talking about, you know, the crazy, funny Dublin people that we've both met, you know, in that only come from Dublin. And he was really funny about that and really got those characters. And there was a strange Dubliner thing, which is kind of great to be around and very funny. And some people see it and get it, and some people don't notice that it's there. But the people that do, you know, Eve is definitely one of them. And then Joe was a funny. I always saw Joseph Gordon-Levitt as a sort of shirt and tie guy.
Yes, I know what you mean.
Yeah. So I thought it was like really him. Like God, I thought it was more, you know, homeless, beard, messy. You know, maybe I don't know, like not Bradley Cooper, but like a good looking, but a bit lost in the something missing, some feeling of like regret and failure or something like that. And somebody who was a bit ragged but you know, Joe and I had some great email conversations, and he really knew the guy. You know, it was like, I know that guy. I know where he is. He's up in Topanga County or Canyon. I could tell you the smell outside his little house. I can describe his whole past to you. And that was very helpful, because even though I've been to LA a good bit, I'm still an Irish guy. Whereas he sort of tastes it. You know, he's lived his whole life in LA. He just knows it. And that was really valuable to making this character really plausible, because you're only going to see him on Zoom. So you have to go by him. The second you see him, you're like, yeah, that's the guy. It's not some guy putting on an LA accent and pretending to be a musician. And then Orton, that kid, is a newcomer. I knew his dad, who's an actor in Dublin. Wow. And then Jack Rayner's an old mate of mine who I would love to put in every film if he was free. He's just really great smile, great charm.
It's great charm. Great.
Yeah. And that was it. Those four, you know, my wife is also in the movie as her best friend, but it's a relatively small role.
Oh, yeah.
It's a little chamber piece. It's like, it's a super simple sort of structure.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I think you've always done that with your films. You've sort of brought these casts or these actors into your world, and it just enhances everything. It's like part of it. You just feel that it's part of the furniture and part of everything that you're creating and making. And it's like they never didn't live like that. It's like I feel like I could go there and they'd be there in those places. And this has happened with all your films, and it's quite an amazing skill, I think, to have. And it's about you as a great director, but also casting extremely well and finding people who fit in these boxes and these places and with no worries. Has this always been something? Because I know you co-directed when you first started making films, and obviously you've done shorts before that and lots of music videos. But was this something that grew over time, or was it something that you've always managed to find? You always managed to find these gems and these perfect people for your amazing films, to be fair?
I think that probably, you know, my generation is probably going to be the last generation who gets to like fuck up and experiment and fail in private, you know, because we're shooting on Hi8 and VHS, and 4 or 5 people were seeing our early attempts. Things, you know, you died a death, but it was like, at least it was my mother and father and a few friends who came to sit on her couch in Dublin you know, to watch our comedy sketches or whatever.
Yeah.
Learned a lot before I really got a chance at making a kind of a semi-proper movie. That's not to say that my early movies aren't embarrassing. They are, but they're not absolutely awful.
They're not awful at all. November Afternoon, etc. Park. Look, it shows you can tell a story and make a feature film. You know, they're definitely not embarrassing. I think they're really well made. Yeah,
well, they're okay, but certainly there was ones before that, you know, sketches and comedy films and stuff.
I see, yeah.
And you know, you do learn, and I think it's funny, filmmaking, like you begin and you don't know where you're going to end up. You're like, I think, you know, there's a lot of, like, if you look, I was looking at Christopher Nolan and thinking of his first movie.
Following.
Yeah, I was looking at that, thinking about him again and thinking about, he probably didn't know that he'd be directing Oppenheimer. Yeah. Adapting this huge novel about this 21st century guy. And, you know, he probably had a number of horses in the race for what he might be. And it kind of made me think Greta Gerwig, when she was now a woman, they're probably just going, I don't really know. I love movies and I could be this, I could be sci-fi, but maybe this, I'm a bit deeper than that. I'm a bit funnier, whatever. And then I think probably what happens in filmmaking is you start to realize I can only learn one thing really well. I can't, it's very rare that you get a director like somebody like Scorsese or somebody who can like hoggle between, psychological thriller, gangster movie, comedy, historical drama, back to thriller, back to remake, which is like a comedy horror, back to like historical again, back to sci-fi with Shutter Island or Set. He's like, he seems to be able to do everything, but there's not a lot of people. Hitchcock, master of suspense. Ingmar Bergman, master of existential grief. Christopher Nolan, quite good at heavy sci-fi with a weird, Greta Gerwig. And I think what my little path, and I'm not comparing myself to any of those mega hit people, my little furrow seems to be just what you described, very bespoke, specific casting, nice little characters, not a big story, and a little bit of tone and music, and that's kind of it. But I think I have become good at it, but I think it's only because I jettisoned all the other careers in film that I hoped I would have when I was starting off,
But I suppose really it comes down to the fact you're very precise with characters and telling very human stories, and kind of getting to the bottom of that drama. And that seems to be the sort of the common thread is very likable. And I suppose there's all of the characters in this, they're very likable, but I think they're likable because they're flawed. They're not like perfect examples. I mean, Eve's such a brilliant lead because she's wild, she's a bit naughty, she's as a mother, she has some brilliant traits and some slightly dubious traits. And I think that actually makes her like really likable because she's a very strong but also very relatable kind of leader. And I think it's the same with the father as well. He's kind of unreliable, but you still like him. And the kid has his sort of quirks and charms, but he's still quite likable. I mean, is that always part of the process? Is creating these kind of very nuanced but conflicted characters?
I mean, it's an interesting question. I think that we're living at a time now, aren't we, where it was like when I was growing up, it was black and white. It was Dynasty and Dallas, and there was a bad, there was a good woman. Like there was it's pretty broad, and cinema and TV was spending a long time with these pretty much straightforward characteristics and rooting for the good guy, hating the bad guy and seeing him get his comeuppance, or and then you moved into there's various stages of like film noir where the baddie became the lead.
Yeah.
And because early 30s, 40s movies was all about the good guy or the good girl, and the baddie was the bad guy. And we started to go into this more realistic thing, which was like, well, let's watch bad people do things. So that was kind of film noir. Let's watch people fail. Like, let's watch burglars. Let's watch Fred McMurray, in Double Indemnity. Let's watch him murder somebody. And the bad guy is what you're looking at.
Yep.
Always comeuppance in the end and have to die. And then you went into various different periods. And then like The Sopranos, I think, is probably the first thing where you're like, this guy's not going to die. He's extraordinarily flawed. He murders somebody in that show. He's an awful human being.
Yes.
He's extremely watchable. And then I think there were a number of knockoffs of that, like where you had to have a dark character and you couldn't just have a good person. You had to give them some grief, and that became very stock. And there's a thing now. There's a reaction, I think, to all of those years of good guy and bad guy, where like you kind of blur the lines between good and bad. And I think that's gone a bit too far as well. What I find I do is when I'm writing a character, I don't think of her as good or bad, but I do like to sort of go into my own psyche and my own guilt or my own anxiety or worry about things and jot down something that I've been thinking, which could be slightly, questionable, like about parenting. Like, would you ever hit your kid? Would I ever, say, use really bad language in front of my kids? And of course I have. And I put that into a script with like a young woman doing it. And suddenly I think that's more it. I'm doing it from the point of view of something that I feel like I could kind of do that myself. Like, I'm not like trying to murder somebody, but I definitely question some things that I've done in the past, question some thoughts, question various things. And I think we do live in that time now of like, social media, and you're curating your own image. And I'm just a good person. I never do bad people. And therefore it's okay for me to be outraged by what you did, because you did a terrible thing. And then that person feels terrible and has to make an apology and be all good again. And, probably generally kind of an okay idea of being contrite and confession and all of that. But it leads to these very, very fake ideas which I thought we'd gotten rid of, which is like, oh, you did something. I didn't like that. I didn't like that word, and I didn't like that. So I don't like you. Or you vote for Trump. I don't like you. Or you voted for Brexit. So like so many Irish people I know will like hate anybody who voted for breakfast. For breakfast, I said. For Brexit.
For breakfast. You're not allowed to eat breakfast yet.
You're not allowed to eat Brexit either.
And it's like a smug sort of like, oh, and then you meet people in England and you're like, oh, there's a million reasons why people were fooled by Brexit. Really good, really nice people that you would happily sit down with, maybe, and it's probably the same with Trump.
Right.
Probably the same. He gives people a great sense of closure and simplicity, and they're less scared of the size of the world. He just gives you this definite thing. Mexicans are shit. Muslims are pretty crap. He just gives you these like broad things that are probably very easy to, but all the people who voted for him aren't terrible. They did a stupid thing.
But they did it for a reason.
I think a lot of it, a lot of the time, it's. I mean, we're not get too political, but it's looking for something that feels comfortable, and like what and I suppose it's change that scares a lot of people, and that's what those kind of icons symbolize, and why they get people behind them as well.
But you brought that to your writing.
Yeah, you should be writing characters, I think, who can. I don't know. Actually, it's a very interesting point. Like, when you're writing a character in a film, you don't want to be judgy. At the same time, you don't want to just be mischievous. And like put a bit of like, sometimes I think like writers like Welbeck or something like that are just being like willfully mischievous.
I know what you mean. Yes.
Like, oh, I'm just gonna have him call somebody a slut.
Yeah, but at the same time, you're doing your recycling.
Just for the sake of it, yeah.
Yes.
Or you're experimenting with your own shit and giving it to somebody else to say, but like, it's saying it yourself, but you kind of are saying it yourself.
Yes, you're saying it yourself because it's in your work. Yeah. I think that's really interesting, I think, for writers. And I think it's probably a problem when they're writing bad characters, as it were, and not everyone's got their, like you say, there's the grey area. But yeah, that is an interesting point. And I think a lot of your films, as much as they might be sweary, they are deep down great people. Deep down, we want to be their friends. Yeah. Deep down, we want them to succeed. And I think that is something magical, because that's not easy to pull off.
No, that's right. But just the thing is, probably most people can go either way.
All of us.
It's a really shocking thing that probably I'm taking my characters on a good day and showing you, the music can influence. You can be, if you're open to it, you can be influenced and altered by very positive things in the world as well as the negative. Yes. And I guess there's a continuity in the films that I'm finding where that's I'm recycling that and figuring that out, because I probably believe in the idea of like, these guys are coming up with such interesting theories now about the brain and the gut and, kind of contradicting these really limited ideas of how we all behave the way we do and why we do. Like, how can I be the most privileged person in the world? I was thinking the other day during COVID, or, we realized our family are the most privileged people in the world. That there's no more, like, David Geffen isn't actually any more privileged by his yacht than I am. Mm-hmm. But then we are in this situation. We're white. We have money. We have food. We live in 2023. We have a house. There's no better scenario for a human being. And we wake up some days and we're like, I want to punch my neighbor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My neighbor. I feel this thing. And then,
you pointed at your neighbor then as well. He's at the window now.
Well, left or right side, just for the audience. And for your neighbors as well. Left neighbor's great. Right neighbor.
That side. Yeah. No.
Better watch out.
Well, that's what kids are always taught to say that. And aren't they like, you're rowing with one of the neighbors on either side? Yeah, because everybody is rowing with the neighbor on
either side, yes. Yeah. No, but
the neighbour's opposite though. Let's not talk about that.
Let's not go there. Yeah, but interestingly, like you mentioned there with like in Flora and Son, for instance, like Eve's character Flora, if something had happened to her son, let's say during one of the music videos, or that he tried to get in with the gang or the guys who were making the music videos, something happened to him, like he got stabbed. Well, it changes the film entirely. She might then go on a revenge. It becomes so I totally get what you mean by we get a snapshot of the day in the life where they're trying to be the best version of themselves. They haven't gone down the route of which you could do. That could easily happen, but they're not your films.
Potential in all of them.
Yes.
But idea that I feel is like music was definitely a very significant kind of lifeline for a long time when I was a teenager. Because I didn't arts, I wasn't academically good. I think I was quite lost for the 12, 13, 14, around that time. And I tried every drug and I tried to drink. I tried to get into trouble. It's not like I had a moral hierarchy or anything over anybody else. I tried to be bad. And I didn't, I couldn't stomach drink, and I didn't particularly like drugs, and I wasn't fighting. I wasn't a bully. I don't think I wasn't music, but I was bored and I was frustrated, and music definitely steered me into practice, ritual,
commitment,
sense of trying to get better. So many positive things, and new friends and exploring, going into town in Dublin when I was 15 and looking at buskers, and suddenly musicians were people I was interested in, or you'd see a person singing in a music shop and you'd gravitate towards them you wouldn't have a year ago. So I guess I'm banging on the same drum about music being the thing that pushes you into the light just a little bit.
Was that the genesis of this film, was kind of going back to those childhood formations and the music? I mean, how did the actual idea for the the final script idea come about? And also, what is your process in terms of putting a film together? Do you start with treatments? Do you discuss things? How do you kind of make that genesis before you get to that first draft?
Well, I think it's a little bit different each time, but the origins of this story were very simple. I was walking home and I passed a skip, or a dumpster, as they say in American, and there was an amplifier in it. And I have a habit, and if I ever get rich in life, I will still do this. And I have done this when I've been flush with money. If there's a skip with something in it, there's some Dublin thing in me, and I don't know whether it's Dublin or what it is, but it's a thing that I will climb into a skip and take some. If there's something being thrown out,
and it could be useful. Yeah.
I think it's maybe it's something in our DNA in Ireland that's from the famine, from hard times, from immigrating, and from there's somebody throwing something out. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So I would always take that stuff. So I took an amp home from a skip, and I brought it home and cleaned it up, wired it, and it worked. And I was like, Jesus, some fool was going to throw this out. And then my wife came in and she was like, you have 5 amps.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Well, I got 6.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, I something new will come of this, because I'm fixed in 1989, where there was like a recession going on in Ireland. We had no money. There was, you know, you were doing anything you could to get a few quid to get a cup of coffee or to buy guitar strings. It was a different time. And I froze at that point of like, you're throwing that out? I'll have it. Even though I don't need it. And then I thought, well, if the amp isn't important to me, what if somebody was to find something in a skip? And it was during COVID as well. As like, what if you found something in a skip that did open up a new world for you? And then that immediately was like, okay, so it's not an amplifier, it's a guitar. And that looks better, firstly.
It does, yeah, for sure.
And I went on with that image of a guitar sticking out of a skip. And I said, okay, so who takes that guitar? And then I was like, maybe it's a guy. And then I was like, well, no, I'm writing something else about a guy who's a musician. Maybe, oh, that's cool. There's a woman. She's standing in a skip, pulling out this guitar, like Excalibur. That's it. And maybe she's, you know, to begin with, that's a story, because I see like, why is this? Well, this is no normal woman. This isn't an average, like middle class woman who's climbing onto a skip, pulling out a guitar. Oh, she's pulling it out for her son. And then I would go home and write, okay, so there's a son. And then I would start to write a bit of dialogue between them. And I go, oh, okay, I'm the son and that's my mother. So now I have a bit of my own person, but I'll change that a little bit and make, you know. And then one by one, you know, okay, she drops the kid home. So she's got some, and then he rejects it kind of comes together and you come up with characters around this center point. But the center point is really simple, which is, imagine any of us found something that really, truly were to give us a lease of life. And like particularly during COVID, like, can you imagine finding something like that? I mean, you guys are younger, but like certainly where I am in my life, like it would be amazing to cover, you know, and I feel like drinking and alcohol and drugs and addiction and Netflix and all that stuff, like reasons to not find something.
Yeah,
you know,
it's a cloud that sort of gets in the way. I mean, I kind of saw the music as like a way out of their circumstance and their surroundings. It's like even with the local garage band and the local rappers and everything, it's all an opportunity to get outside of their sort of stuck routines, I guess, and lifestyles. And it is this almost like golden ticket, you know, to a new life.
Music is them. Yeah, it's a perfect way of looking at it. It is a golden ticket.
And it bonded them as well. And I think music does do that. Anytime you have a conversation, what music do you like, or you go to an event or concert, or even if it's just to the pub and there's music in the background, you know, we do talk about that. And I think that's a beautiful way to connect, regardless of how successful you are as a musician, the connection and, you know, that, and I think that was so beautiful in this film, Flora and Son. It really was. And again, you've done this in so many of your films like this. And it's such like I say, it really is a skill. Now, when you are writing, just to go on that, and again, feel free if you don't want to talk about the writing right now, but in terms of how you piece it together, as Dom asked, is it, like you say, you've come up with your idea, you've gone through that. Do you now block out the whole story? Do you do little bits? Do you just, you know, vomit draft it out? What's your process? Because you've written for like all your life, so it's really interesting to know.
Yeah, I would normally find that, I mean, some writers are very good at mapping out their story and knowing where the plot goes, and so I'm not a big believer in story. I think story is overrated, and I think that the idea of, you know, story, I think that's a Hollywood gimmick that's been sort of sold back to us. It's very convincing. And it is, very tempting. And you do need some form of narrative. I think you do, but you need very little. And having children made me realize just how little you need if you're good. And actually, they're not going to remember the details of the story. They remember being told the story and the tone and the fun of their father or mother reading them a story, to making a story up. And I think that we've become so inebriated by plot and story that we've become very good at working out these really terrific stories, but there's a lack of heart in an awful lot of it. Yeah, I would write dialogue and I would find my story being suggested and the plot points or the inciting incidents or being suggested by lines of dialogue that people say, not a structure that I come. Usually I would just start, I like this character of Flora and I like her going home to her son, and I would write a scene, and in that scene then his father would be born out of the dialogue of just writing about them to, oh, that's good, there's a dad. Oh, that's great. But I never sat down and thought I'm going to write a thing about a mother, a single mom, her son, and the dad came out of the dialogue, and then the best friend came out of the dialogue.
Just to go straight into what you're saying about the story, would you? Because I felt that your character development was incredibly strong. So it's almost like you're sort of making up for the lack of maybe less importance on the story by having characters that really go through a journey and a process, and that is the kind of story is how they develop and sort of come together through the script. Does that make sense, or is that not kind of where you're coming from?
I think story is easy. We could sit here all day talking about story, but what's a little bit harder is to create likable, plausible characters that reaffirm life and who make you feel like it's worthwhile. And they're the kind of characters that I respond to on screen. It's not the stories of what happened, because here's the truth. If we believed that, if you went to any migrant in the UK or in Ireland at the moment, right, and asked her for her story would fucking blow all our minds. Like, in terms of like Dickensian stories of like luck, fate, chance, abuse, violence, kindness, any story of any immigrant or migrant would blow our stories out of the water. A middle-class white kid from Dublin who had a happy upbringing. The end. This story. Things happen to me, but
they're not. Yeah.
So really, if we really did believe in stories as much as we think we do, we would be embracing those people into our worlds and our lives and letting them enrich them without question. But so many people are resistant to that. So if that was the thing that we were looking for in I don't think that's what we're looking for at all in entertainment or film or I think for some reason we do, for some weird reason, we do need the kind of coat hanger to hang stuff on. So we do need a kind of an arc of a story of some sort of thing evolving, but not really that. And that's why my movies are laughably almost plot thin. Right. They're like, and sometimes I look at them and I'm like, really, I'm going to tell a school band who have like, that is so old hat. But like, it's about the tone and it's about the believability and the fun. That's all it is for me. It's not really, I could probably sit down and write tons of really good stories and plot twists. Or I certainly feel like I could learn it, but I couldn't learn how to do, what's happening on like Mad Men.
Yeah, all the twists and stories.
A movie. I could never learn that because it's brilliant and it's so specific. Yes. I think anybody could learn to the fundamentals of storytelling. It's pretty basic. So I think that's how that in answer to your question, that's how I work. It's like characters suggesting their own story arcs and other characters then being born out of like dialogue and humor and putting people into just slightly twisting things and turning things and looking at it from a funny point of view and sort of taking it from there. But I don't go to work with a map of where I want to end up.
And I suppose that's a good point, because it doesn't have to be. I mean, people think that everything has to be incredibly complicated in terms of plot lines, but actually, if it's a simple through line that's very well executed and it comes from the characters, you're joining the journey of the characters. That's who you care about in the film. It can be the most complex, interesting, crazy, convoluted storyline in the world, but if you don't like or believe the characters, you're going to be lost, at the first tiny plot hole. Whereas you'll actually forgive a lot more if the characters are, utterly fascinating to watch, and you're sort of joining them on that journey.
I don't think I'm particularly good at that. I'm just saying the Dickensian, the idea that, everything has to be as good as a Dickens story, that's feeding, I think, a very one note. And I love Charles Dickens, by the way. I'm not bitching, but I'm just saying it's feeding the need, like the human being is a munching machine for narrative. We eat, but it doesn't enlighten us. And it can often become very sentimental and very one-dimensional. And it can appeal to more base instincts of anger, sympathy, withdrawing from a character, crying, all these big. But I always rather watching things which confound me and make me feel like that. It's why, I think that what's her name? Joanna Hogg's movies are so fascinating because it's why did she just do that?
Yes.
What?
A souvenir.
There's no story happening. There's nothing. Right. There's people doing interesting things because we leave the house we leave the house every day.
Yeah.
And, you can turn one way and you can have a bad day. You can follow something free.
Yes. Which is absolutely wonderful. But how, I suppose, do you get those films made? Dom?
Yeah.
Have you heard of RecDeck?
What's RecDeck?
Yeah, it's RecDeck, RecDeck. It's an app where you can get all your friends' favourite TV and film recommendations in one place. Like, if we were talking about a show you loved, I could just say, oh, would you mind RecDecking me that, Dom? And to send it out on RecDeck. I can then read all about it, see what you thought, where it's on, and add it to my watch list.
So I never have to scroll through my shitty notes app or WhatsApp trying to remember who told me to watch what?
Exactly.
That would be useful.
I know. You can also subscribe to publications like The Guardian, The Times, even IndieWire, and get their top reviews sent straight to your deck.
I guess it's just kind of making sure I know what's really worth checking out. And I can add the ones I like to look at on my watch list.
Yes. You basically create your own watch list from all of these top recommendations, as well as your friends' faves.
Kind of like Letterboxd, but for TV.
Tom, that's exactly right. There's loads of info on there, like streaming service, IMDb rating, director cast, runtime, etc. You can leave comments on shows for your friends. There's even a scene list, so you can keep track of the shows you love.
That does sound great. I might download it now. RecDeck ?
I feel like RecDeck could be the single best way our industry can find TV and film at home to suit our own tastes,
I do know.
No more doom scrolling or dom scrolling Netflix. Other streaming services are available.
Oh, I'm with you, Giles. I feel like I already love RecDeck.
Well, there's a new company spreading the film joy.
We should do an ad for them.
But who would you play if we did?
I'd play you.
Okay, well then I'd play you.
Probably best.
Great. Well, that's that sorted.
The two friends briefly chuckle and wink at each other.
Anyway, what else is on the agenda?
The two podcast hosts move on to less important matters, confident they have each played their role as they have done for much of their lives to perfection. Giles being Giles and Dom being Dom. Oh, we weren't supposed to read that bit. The end.
The end. RecDeck. So listen, this is my mate Ed Rigg. He set up RecDeck. Us doing a funny advert aside is for them. He wrote it actually, so we read what he wrote, but
made it funny because we're idiots.
Yeah, basically. But RecDeck is available now. Link to that is in the show notes. It is a really cool app.
It is.
Ignore our terrible advertising for it.
Yeah. RecDeck.com. RecDeck.
There you go.
Gold Bond knows that things are just better with a little boost. Like your music? And your skin. Check out Gold Bond's new Plumping Collagen Body and Face Serum Lotion. It's clinically shown to visibly plump and boost skin hydration by 50%, leaving your skin looking hydrated and more youthful. Turn up beautiful skin with Gold Bond's new Plumping Collagen Body and Face Serum Lotion. Learn more on Amazon.
Hey, I just Venmo'd you for rent.
Nice. Now I can instantly spend it whether I'm checking out online with Venmo or using a Venmo debit card.
Say more.
More exactly. Because the more you do with Venmo, the more you get. Like earning up to 5% cash back with Venmo Stash on a bundle of brands.
So, order more pizza.
The math demands it.
Get the Venmo debit card.
Venmo Stash bundle terms and exclusions apply. See terms at venmo.me/stash terms. Venmo checkout not available at all merchants. Venmo MasterCard is issued by the Bancorp Bank N.A.
There's a new way to sweet green. Meet Wraps. Handheld, hearty, and made for life on the move. With bold, chef-crafted flavors, fresh ingredients, and over 40 grams of protein. They're built to satisfy without slowing you down. Try Wraps today in the app or at order.sweetgreen.com. Available at all participating locations.
Because it is something that our audience will be going, thank you, finally, someone's saying, I don't need to follow the need to put beats here, I can tell the story I want to tell. But they're also going, but how do I sell that story to studios, investors, How did it work for you? How do you think it happened? Because obviously you'd made your first two features and then you made a nice juicy in terms of budget feature and then came down again for once, if you like, in terms of budget level a little bit. It'd be really lovely for you to talk about how you got those films made and how you went, I'm just going to go make one, so let's make this happen.
I mean, that's a very interesting point in my life where I definitely had given, being a proper filmmaker a shot, and I had been lucky enough to get the film that you're referring to there, On the Edge, and it was kind of like a studio indie movie.
Yeah, Cillian Murphy starring, right?
Murphy, in his first role. And I got this very lucky break. I had made a few small things and I got this lucky break to make this film and I made it. And then I made a TV show with my brother and my colleague, and that was a success. And I came out of those two things feeling like I wasn't quite enjoying how much of a job this felt like now. And I didn't sign up for being a filmmaker to like clock in, do recce's, be responsible, shoot the script under budget and be told you're a good boy or you're a bad director or you're this or that and reviewed in that way. And I struggled with that, but I also felt like, I wasn't particularly good at being a proper filmmaker. I felt like I had to kind of go back to basics with filmmaking and really feel like I was just a guy with a camera in my hand and no bells and whistles. I found having dolly tracks and lenses and cranes and that stuff that we crave for as filmmakers, we crave as filmmakers. I found them distracting and I found them a bit unnecessary. And I found it very hard to be kind of authentic to my worldview with all of that structure behind me. And I still to this day show up at work and when I see like 5 trucks parking up with gear in them, I hate it. I just feel like, oh, this is a job now. Like I feel like I'm building a road or something here, and there's a way road and straight and it has to be painted and has to follow the, and that's not what I want or not what I signed up for. I much prefer the idea of just being a person with a camera in their hand. Their friends are their actors, their mates are helping out, and it's all a bit of a continuation of the spirit of childhood and of creativity when you're like in your first band and nobody cares and you're just, it's to try and, I guess now, artificially engineer a sense of freedom and a sense of And I just followed that. Sorry, to answer your question, you know, I just followed that idea with making once and said, I don't care how much money I have. I know that this story is good and it's sweet and I can do it well. And I know that this song is great. And, people will enjoy seeing the structure of a musical, like an old Hollywood musical, if they don't know they're looking at it. And if I could kind of apply a handheld sort of Nouvelle Vague, Lars von Trier sort of approach to a musical, that's something. And whether it was big or small, I had no idea, but I definitely knew that was something. Because normally you associate handheld camera with hard, heavy hitting drama and playing and that and anti. But I thought, like, what if you took like a Gene Kelly vibe, you know, like boy meets girl, there's heartache, they sing together, he goes away. What if you took quite a conventional musical idea, but you made it kind of like a Dogma movie or a budget French movie? And that was my star that I kind of followed for it and followed it relentlessly. And then we just got really lucky with the timing for that movie.
I'd be interested to know the distribution route of Once as well, how you sort of ended up that, where it got to.
I think what happened was, in my career, if I'm being honest, I think that I followed one very simple idea. And I believed in that idea, which was people will enjoy a low budget musical. And I felt like I knew that because if you think it was like 14 or 15 years ago, nobody had seen a handheld gritty musical with songs. It was original as a concept, but I could have just as easily said, you know, I want to do a horror film. And I was really interested in the idea of like the Blair Witch Project and those kind of movies and Halloween. I'd love to have made a really gritty horror movie that was like really scary but profound or something like that. But because my career path with Once, we got really lucky and the timing was incredibly good. It was like people just didn't know what to make of it in a cool way. And they were like, that feels fresh and it feels new. And then once I did that, I kind of started to realize I should stick, like I know that, and I should stick to that with it. Obviously, you can go and do it with Mark Ruffalo and Kira, or you can do it with kids back at home, or you can do it with Eve, but it's the same. It's not that it's a formula. It's a worldview and it's an approach. And I did it again. We did it again with Flora, which was like, let's keep the budget low, make it the way we want to make it, and then go out and try and sell it.
Yes. So you, and as to answer Dom's question a little bit then, with Flora and Son, are you already, when you're going, right, I think I've got myself a script that feels good to me, are you then going to Apple? Are you then going with your producers to say, talk us through that?
Yeah, no, not at all. Actually, with you realize with these little movies, you kind of have to make them with private money and make them small, because you're never going to be able to, well, two things. You're never going to be able to pitch them to a big company like Apple or Universal or whoever. Well, and then if they did give you the money, I don't think you'd be able to make it really in the free way that they need to be made. And then you sell them. That's what I do.
Yeah.
Learn to have not a lot of money, make your vision, do your thing. And that's the way to show. It's like painting a painting. I can't give you a draft of it. It's like this, I have to do it. And then you try and sell it. And that's worked out for me. I've done that with all of the films. We go out and then we sell it afterwards, and they've all sold okay. And so that's the kind of the way we did it. We wanted to keep our overheads down and the budget down and do what we wanted to do. And then luckily, we got a company who are pretty cool at selling stuff like this and are interested in it, and we genuinely enjoy it. Which is the key, I think, to this relationship, is that the people at Apple seem to genuinely like the movie. It's not like something that they wanted to win. Because like, as you can see, the movie is not, it's kind of like, what? It's such a little, but it has a big heart, and it's a universal story. All either been a mother or a father, or we've been a kid. That's how we get to the earth.
No, it's fantastic, John. Flora and Son is a fantastic movie. And Dom's got one final question for you.
Yes, just if you had any advice from maybe to give your earlier self trying to break into the industry and make maybe your first feature or get up to that next level, what would it be?
I mean, I have people in my life now who are young who I'm trying to give advice to in my family and stuff. And I'm like, what I would have given my younger self for the tech that's at our fingertips now.
Yep, agreed.
Like, I would have loved it. And I think it's the most exciting time to be an artist in filmmaking now, right? Because you can make films in so many different ways. There's no rules. Like my niece she's doing stand-up comedy at the moment. And I'm thinking like, you're doing stand-up. It's working really well for you. You could shoot a film on an iPhone. You can write it on your laptop. You can edit it on your desktop. You can
design the posters. Yeah, everything yourself.
Exactly. You can do all these amazing... And also, there's no rules of how to promote that. There's no rules. There's no male producer standing over your studio telling you how it has to be.
Yep.
You're totally free.
Yep.
And that is very exciting. It's probably also a bit heady and a bit nerve-wracking.
Definitely.
And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's easy for young filmmakers, but it's definitely an exciting time. And it's definitely what I think we're going to want to see more of is individual voices, not groupthink, not committees, but real individual looks at life and interpretations of people's stories and their own life, for better or worse, flawed and with all the flaws and all the pain of reality of the real story and the real life that people have experienced. So I don't know. I think it's a very exciting time to pick up a camera and shoot something.
At first, I didn't think it was real. I woke up to this blinding light, and I was transported to another place. Pluto TV. Then I heard a voice.
Come with me if you want to live.
There were thousands of movies and shows, and they were all free.
Truth is ours.
It's just so beautiful.
On Pluto TV, free streaming of Terminator 2, Fringe, Arrow, The 100, and The X-Files may cause excitement, loss of sleep, and sudden belief in extraterrestrials. No credit cards or alien encounters necessary. Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.
Real value shows up in reliability you don't have to second guess. Like a set of Firestone all-season tires. They're designed to deliver confidence-inspiring wet weather traction and a quieter ride, no matter the road, season after season. Firestone all-season tires. For durability you can count on, just like people count on you. Firestone, always dependable since 1900.
Bonjour, compadre. It's the
Priceline Negotiator.
How do I negotiate so many great travel deals? My greatest gadget, the Priceline app. It's got hotel deals, flight deals, rental car deals, all of those deals in a bundle. Deals, game day deals, concert trip deals. No one deals more deals than Priceline. Hold your horses, there's more. The app lets you filter hotels by neighborhood, vibe, star level, and amenities like pools and spas and beachfronts and... Wait, I'm not done. Stop cutting me off.
Priceline!
Brilliant.
Amazing.
Thank you, John. It's been an absolute pleasure and, an incredibly compelling and enjoyable movie as well. So best of luck with it.
I really like it because, it's refreshing to meet you guys and I kind of know a little bit about what you do. So I'm kind of relieved that you like this movie.
That's really kind of you to say, but...
Yeah. I don't know who I made it for. I kind of made it for my mother in a way, if I'm thinking honestly about her.
Right.
About like sort of, so the fact that two hip young...
I will take that.
I'll take it.
This is honestly, we both love this movie because it's the kind of movie I would love to make. It fits into that sensibilities of, and loving what you're saying about making films as well. That to me is just a delight. Our audience are going to love that. It's just like, go do it. Don't wait for anyone. Raise the money and go do it and then sell it. It's like, you can do it. You don't need permission.
Yeah.
And that's lovely to hear and amazing.
Yeah.
But
it's true, I think.
Yeah, I think
so
it's
now
true.
than ever.
But listen, congratulations on everything you've done, but especially on Flora and Son. I really hope it does as well as it should do. And really appreciate your time, John Carney. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers, John. Take care. Bye. Bye. So there we have it. That was John Carney. What a guy. What a fascinating podcast. Really interesting. What an angle I think he took on that as well.
I know, unique indie filmmaking approach, but never feeling small, always feeling huge character-wise.
And I know he's got his amazing back catalogue to lean on.
Yeah.
But so what? It doesn't mean every time's a new setup. It's a new way of trying to raise money. And I love that he's just gone out and gone, I'm just going to find a new idea, something that works for me, something I love, and go and do it. Legend.
It's not about how big it is, it's how well written and the characters are and how good the acting is, really, and being able to tie those elements together, for sure. I'd be interested if he he mentioned film noir, and maybe his next film could be Dublin Indemnity.
I'm doubling over with your terrible pun.
Doubling up on it.
Yeah, stop it. So there we have it. Look, that was John Carney. What an amazing guy. Flora and Son is out.
It's out now.
Go watch it. If you got Apple TV, if you haven't, sign up. It's totally worth it, and this film is fantastic. So you can do it too. Believe in yourself. Go out there, write the best script you can, find an idea, be inspired by stuff around you and stuff you care about. Do as John has done and go out there.
Steal that thing from the skip.
Absolutely, whatever it may be. And go out there and make your film.
You do you.
You do you. Just don't get caught and say that we didn't tell you to do it. And
The Filmmakers Podcast is not involved stealing of any kind.
As your lawyer. And and if you're lucky enough to rise up and do well, it's your duty to
send the skip back down again.
Hey! Or the trash can. What was it? Garbage can? Dumpster. Or send the dumpster back down. That sounds good.
Yeah. For those of you in America.
Yeah. Which is a lot of you. So thank you for listening. You are all amazing. And I look forward to hearing about how you've made your film. Get on the Filmmakers Podcast. Email us if you have done so at filmmakerspod@gmail.com. Brilliant. Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Giles.
We will see you all next Tuesday. Take care, everyone. Bye.
I'm not going to sing. Bye.
You should, Dom. You've got a great voice.
Goodbye.
I take it back.